Silverhide. I have to say, when I saw the cover of this movie, I was pretty excited to see it, because it looks damn good. I actually saw it at HMV last week. I thought, ooh, I'll definitely have to review that one. So here we are. So what is Silverhide about? Well, it's a werewolf film with a little bit of a twist, as I'll come on to in just a second. Now, this is a low-budget British movie, and it's I guess you can compare it in a way to Dog Soldiers, because it does deal with one of the sort of themes that was presented in that movie, and that is the weaponization of werewolves, or kind of using them in kind of for military operations. But the plot here is a little different. So it really focuses on three reporters, and they've got wind of some kind of top secret military project which is kind of being tested or something in this kind of remote part of Wales. And they're sort of camping out and trying to get a glimpse of it. They don't actually know what it's actually about at this point. Of course, we as the viewers have guessed. Obviously, it's a werewolf, but this werewolf has a trick up its sleeve. And this werewolf basically is known as the Silverhide, and what that means is essentially, because it has this kind of silver-like fur, it can actually appear invisible in moonlight, which means it's virtually undetectable. Now, like I said, this is a low-budget film, so is this an excuse for not showing the werewolf? Well, there you go. So it basically, obviously, stuff goes wrong, people get killed, and obviously these reporters have to try and escape with their lives. So I kind of liked the idea that it's trying to make a little bit original with the werewolf kind of genre, and kind of making this one just that little bit different from maybe some of the other packs. And I think werewolf films are in a way quite hard to do, because they've obviously got to be fairly effects heavy to kind of make them effective, because they are kind of so visual to look at. So you can't just, a vampire film, for example, or even a zombie film, relatively cheap to kind of make kind of the makeup and stuff. But here, this is obviously a low budget film, and it kind of gets around that, but obviously by incorporating the fact that this Silverhide can't be seen for all the time, we do sort of see flashes here and there, but you'll never really get a proper good look at it. A few longer shots towards the end, which I'll come on to, but for the most part, it's either invisible or it's very, very quick editing, basically, so you only kind of get a glimpse. And to be fair, that was the smart play here, because when you do get a kind of more than any longer of a second look, that you can kind of see this is really just a kind of puppet, and like the eyes are just staring and not blinking, for example, and it's obviously cheaper side, but it kind of hides the facts fairly well, because obviously it all takes place at night. It's obviously a sort of very sort of dark surrounding out in the kind of the moors area or whatever, and like I said, they're very sort of quick cuts. So I kind of like the idea. I think the cover art, it looks pretty impressive of this movie, but it does have some major flaws. So let's get on to that. So this is a cheap film, and it can't escape the fact that it has some major problems because of that. It's actually a very short film. I think it's only like 72 minutes or something along the lines of that. But even though it's a short film, this film drags. There's actually very little plot here. It really focuses on these three reporters, and they kind of, nothing really happens in the first sort of 20 minutes, and you don't even get much characterization about these people. What we do get is this kind of garbled, sort of convoluted exposition about how one of these girls is paranoid and she thinks people are following her and stuff like that, and we're like, don't care. We literally know nothing about this character. We're just kind of told straight away that she's kind of some kind of conspiracy theories and things like that, and they go straight into that without kind of really kind of building up any type of character. So it just comes across as kind of a little bit annoying, to be quite honest. The acting here is quite poor, unfortunately. The way that especially these three kind of reporters, we do see some other sort of characters, some military personnel, and their roles are all fairly sort of two-dimensional, to be honest. The main interactions are going to be with these kind of like three reporters, but the way they kind of interact with each other and the reactions that they have are just very kind of like very poor and kind of almost like schoolyard type reactions, and they just don't act in kind of a way that a real human would react. And part of that is going to be the script. I mean, in one scene, they bear in mind these guys are trying to hide out in this kind of military complex. They've got a bright blue tent in the middle of this field. I don't know how they expect that to be covert, but whatever. And we kind of see this werewolf sort of stalking around this tent, and then literally there's this one girl who goes out and has a look. After there's clearly something out there. it's just very kind of basic, silly sort of script writing. Unfortunately, that added to this kind of it's not really bad acting, but it's on the poorer side. It just doesn't come across as making a kind of an enthralling piece of entertainment, and the pace of it, like I said, it's far too long, just spent on these kind of single takes of someone looking around, or we see some of the soldiers kind of look for their scopes and their sort of heat vision and things like that, and these shots just go on for too long. So the pace of it is so uneven. There's not a lot actually that happens. They do try and thicken the plot by having this kind of garbled, convoluted conspiracy thing, and obviously, as you can guess, if it's a military thing, there's obviously some kind of cover-up that's going to be going on and things like that. But it's really not explained all that well. Certainly not until the end of the movie, and it just comes across as what is it I'm actually watching? It just seems such a poor effort, unfortunately, in regards to the storytelling technique. So I have to say I was a little bit disappointed with this film. I do think it has got a few good ideas, and I take the hat off. Obviously, they try to make an effective kind of creature feature with a very obviously limited budget, and I can see that they've done some stuff here to try and really make it look probably better than it deserves to be. But the problem here, mainly, I thought it's just going to be the script and the acting. So I'm going to have to give this movie a 4 out of 10. It was a little bit of disappointment, I've got to say. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.